Welcome back, ladies and gents, to the Blizzard ANZ StarCraft 2 Pro League Grand Finals, brought to you by Gamester. We've just seen Mighty Kiwi put a point on the board for SYF in the first match against Pig Jr. And now we're hopping into a TVP between HuT and Probe.
Yeah, we sure are. And let's talk a little bit about this matchup. There has just been a patch today, so Protoss got a little bit of a nerf, so Chrono Boost isn't quite as strong. They nerfed it from 100% build rate increase down to 50%, but to give a trade-off, they've increased the duration from 10 to 20 seconds. And the Raven got a couple of changes as well. I doubt we're really going to see one made from HuT. Neither player really had a whole lot of time to react and adapt to those changes, but I'm sure they got a few cheeky ladder games in over the course of the day.
Yeah.
If we look at these players historically as well, Zeph, Probe has beaten HuT 2-1 in the last couple of series they've played across December and October, and Probe hasn't lost in a series to HuT since 2014.
Oh boy. Oh goodness.
But HuT can take the odd game. But I mean, I just bring that up to give you some context as to why I'm saying that I think Pro wins this 95%.
True. But that odd game does count though, because it is just the one map. So if it can make it happen on this one map, then that's all he needs to do.
That's it,
great
man.
For him. So we'll see if he's prepared a tasty Terran treat for the Protoss here, and see if we can grab that map for him on Odyssey. The countdown started, guys. Get hype! First TVP of the night.
Let's get into it. That countdown has just completed. Now, if Probe does fall here to HuT, things get very, very awkward for Legacy, and it'll take a special effort for them to eke out a win.
Oh, yeah.
Especially with the next couple of matchups coming up. So Probe needs to win this one for his team to really stay alive and to give them a fighting chance.
He certainly does. And we are loaded in to Odyssey. Let's get these player introductions done. In the top left, representing SYF, this is HuT.
And down here in the bottom right-hand corner, playing for Team Legacy Esports in the green, we're talking about Probe. He loves that green color as well.
He does. I
Always
think
seen with it.
green is my least favorite race color to use. I don't know if it's just because it reminds me too much of, you have the red and green allied colors or something. Not too much a fan.
It's a bit vanilla.
But you know what? It is Christmas, so green and red maybe not such a bad color scheme.
HuT is just the Christmas Grinch. He's gone blue. Doesn't want to get the Christmas cheer on. He's getting some coal in his stockings.
I tell you what, I've had about enough of the Christmas cheer already. Sitting on the plane, waiting to fly back from Probe Land, it's just Christmas Carol after Christmas Carol after Christmas Carol. It's ready to pop.
What, singing on the plane?
No, they're just blasting it over the plane's radio or something. I was like, why?
Yeah, it's I really would prefer if you were quiet.
Gosh. Every shop you walk into, but what can you do? People love
what
their
you can
Christmas.
do is you can just shop on Christmas Eve and make it as short as possible. And yeah, don't do that. That's what I do.
Alrighty, well, Probe has come up here to tickle some SCVs. It's been a bit of a bother. Not doing too much else. Marine does come out, so he has to go home now. And meanwhile, he has expanded himself. Usual one gate expand from Probe's end.
We should really talk about this factory. Now, this could be for mines. And mines build a little bit faster now, Zeph, that the patch came in as well. I forgot to mention that earlier. It's a pretty dramatic reduction in the build time, something like 28.5 seconds down to about 21.7. I mean, I'm slightly off there, but you get the gist.
Yeah.
It's a decent boost, and so that's exactly what HuT's going for. He starts with the mines, he's getting a couple of Marines, and Probe, he might feel like the beginnings of something like this is happening because the Probe didn't see the command center start when it should have been starting. But it just depends. what does Probe do from here? He is already adding down that robotics facility, so that'll at least allow him to get some observers out and a couple of stalkers maybe as well. But if HuT can control things nicely, he might get off to a good start and do some serious economic damage.
Yeah. Openers like Mind Drop are kind of like the old faithful at this stage in TVP. Everyone does them. And they still have a decent chance to do damage. So let's see how this goes for him. He's almost finishing up his CC here, grabbing himself Hellion for good measure as well. And it won't be long before he's visiting his buddy over here to drop some pain on him.
Gotta say as well, this is like the most standard of standard Protoss openings.
Yep.
You know, just opening up with the Stalker, the robotics facility, couple extra gateways, 2 bases. This is like bread and butter. This is tea and biscuits.
Tea and biscuits. That's right. Now, Probe has got this watchtower here, so he's going to see the drop coming across the map towards his main base. So, provided he was watching, he can stick a few units over there and prepare for that. He's also heading out across the other side of the map with the observer.
Interesting. But he is already getting a warp in. He's got another observer back here in the main as well, so it looks like he'll be in a really nice position to try and defend this, even with 3 stalkers. Like, HuT just sees that and he's like, nope, I'm going to turn around for the time being. But he does have a couple of Hellions coming in. But look at this, Zap. That's a tight wall with those stalkers. These Hellions aren't going to be able to get in.
Probe, mate. That's just
turn off
such a
your
beautiful
map
defense.
hacks.
You just can't get in there. Really nice idea from HuT. And I mean, while he doesn't lose anything, he hasn't gained anything from that either. So now he's just kind of like, oh, well, that's suboptimal. Goes back, makes a couple of racks at home, grabbing himself a siege tank as well, and continuing his macro cycles. Now he's found a spot to dump these units at last. Can he get some damage done?
Oh, he needs to get some damage done here, Zeph. But really good SimCity here by Probe, and a couple of these Hellions are just going to go down for pretty much nothing. I think maybe 1 Probe went down there. The Widowmine goes down as well. This is looking pretty awful for HuT, really. Like, I mean, he's already down by about 10 workers. Sure, he's got some mules, but he needs to find damage right now. And this Liberator is just charging straight into the line of these Stalker fires.
Oh,
no!
my God.
Oh, the humanity. It just goes from bad to worse for HuT straight away. And
oh my goodness.
Maybe this streak is going to continue. Maybe Probe is still not going to have lost like a tournament series since 2014 after this game. Best of ones.
That medevac is in dire straits as well. It's been sitting next to an observer.
Oh, it's going down.
No. Oh, he's going to lose it, isn't he?
He's definitely going to lose it. One more. Oh, he cancelled the animation. The Stalkers. You absolute goombas.
Oh, no.
Oh, on your way. Oh, well, at least the Medivac should kind of get trapped here. Probe can kind of like look around for it. I'm not sure that's in range, but it is. Okay, goodbye. Good night. Good night, sweet prince.
Gave up on it. So, yeah, that did not pay off for our friend HuT here. He got 2 whole probes throughout that harassment. And that's really not the damage that he would have been looking for. He's gone back into the extra racks at home. He's got 2 siege tanks here as well. Now, is he going to get a 3rd, or is he going to 2-base it?
He'll likely 2-base it until the time when he moves out, and then you make the 3rd. Because it's like, okay, well, we're attacking, now we've got the map control. Otherwise, I think at the moment, if you look at Terran versus Protoss, if the Terran player goes for a fast 3rd base, they generally get contained by the Protoss, and it's not really giving them much of an economic advantage anyway, just having that base. So I think the orthodox idea is let's attack, expand behind it.
Alrighty. A few extra gates coming up for Probe as he moves out here. Colossus well and truly on the way. He's got charge and 1-1 coming down as well. He's going to be very well set up in the upgrade department momentarily. HuT boosting forward here to take out that observer. Finds a whole bunch of stalkers though, and he will lose that medevac.
So a scan, a medivac, and 4 marines for the cost of 1 observer.
Man, this is a rough start to the game for HuT. Now he's going to move out with quite the army. These stalkers are going to know all about it though. And they will snipe the mine, blink back.
Yeah, great stuff by Probe. Dude, he's been trading so well. It's like he's a Bitcoin trader that got in right at the start, and now he can just brag about like how rich he is.
Oh my goodness. If you look at the resources lost too, it's pretty grossly in favor of Probe at this stage.
200 for Protoss, 1,750 for Terran. Well, that was probably the first false step that we've seen Probe take all of this game. Loses quite a few of those Stalkers. And now HuT's going to charge forward, but there are some sentries. The tanks will siege up, buy HuT a little bit more time. He does now have a decent army. Probe's got that third base though, so if he can just hold on, get a couple of Immortals out, he's got those 3 Colossi that he needs. And this will be pretty brutal as HuT gets caught unsieged. The Zealots go through and kill so many of those tanks, killing so much of the bio as well. Probe taking yet another fantastic trade here. And HuT, he doesn't even have another command center in production, and GG is called. Probe ties up the series, 1 apiece.
Certainly does. Very smooth game there from Probe, shutting down HuT at every turn. Very clean one from him. So gotta be pleased with that. And Legacy will be feeling quite good that he put points on the board, as you mentioned before. That if he lost that would be a pretty tough spot for Legacy. But as it stands, we are in that 1-1 territory, and we'll be hopping into another match very shortly. And this time, it's actually going to be a TVT.
TVT, yeah, we're getting a good mix of matchups tonight. Next up, we'll have a Zerg versus Zerg as well. We definitely get 4 games tonight, maybe an ace match as well. But I think Legacy really need to produce something special here. The players' preparations, the labs and workshops they would have done around builds, something needs to pay off here. They've got 2 chances. I feel like Azure probably has the better chance than Peppy, but we'll have to see and just find out what happens. We'll take a quick break, guys. We'll be back in a couple of minutes.